There are memories that do not belong to the people who carry them. Words spoken by a child sometimes echo like remnants of a life lived long before. There are moments when someone, lying in total stillness, remembers everything happening around them at a time when their body appears entirely unresponsive. And there are marks on the skin, peculiar habits, or unexplainable fears that resemble traces of someone who once existed, someone separated from the present by decades. No one has ever offered a final explanation. No one has been able to dismiss these cases completely. They remain scattered throughout history, fragments of information that do not quite fit into any known framework. Amid all these strange accounts, 10 stories rise above the rest, cases so unusual, so precisely detailed, that even the most skeptical minds pause before moving on. And everything begins with a child who barely understands the world around her, yet remembers things that do not belong to the life she is living now. From that moment, an uncanny flow of memory begins. The first story unfolds in Delhi, India, with a 4-year-old girl named Shanti Devi. Her words were not the words of a child. She described another lifetime with unsettling clarity. She spoke of a man, mentioned his name, and recalled specific corners and objects inside a home located in a distant village she had never visited. She said that in that other life, she left the world during a moment tied to the birth of her child. At first, her family dismissed it as imagination, but the details kept matching reality so perfectly that the Indian government formed an official investigative committee. When they brought Shanti to the village, she did not need directions. She ran straight toward a house and recognized the man standing at the door. Inside, she pointed to objects, recalled changes made to the home, and described things only someone who had once lived there would know. The number of exact details was too great to ignore. The second case emerged in the United Kingdom. 2 sisters, Joanna and Jacqueline, left their family after a tragic event. A year later, their mother gave birth to twins, Jennifer and Jillian. In their earliest years, everything seemed normal. But as they grew older, the twins began recognizing places they had never been, remembering the arrangement of objects once used by the 2 sisters before them, and reacting with sudden fear when passing a location tied to the earlier tragedy. What troubled researchers most was a small mark on Jennifer's body, matching exactly the placement of an injury once suffered by Jacqueline. No available explanation seemed sufficient. In Syria, a 3-year-old boy living in a small community shocked everyone around him. He spoke of a serious event involving someone who used to be him in another time. He pointed toward an empty patch of land and described the circumstances of that past moment in vivid detail. When people went to check, they found that the location had indeed been the site of an incident known to older members of the community. The boy had never left the village and had never been exposed to these old stories. Yet he knew every detail with unsettling precision. In Myanmar, researcher Ian Stevenson encountered a girl whose memories consumed page after page of his notes. She claimed she had once been an older man and described in detail the situation that ended his previous existence. The most striking part was 2 small marks on her body, one small and round, the other larger, located exactly where the former person was said to have been injured. When Stevenson compared the marks with documented medical records, the locations matched perfectly. This case became one of the strongest pieces of evidence in his extensive research. In the United States, the story of little James Leininger attracted national attention. At just 2 years old, James woke up night after night, screaming from dreams of being inside a failing aircraft. He shouted names no one in his family recognized, names of a battleship, a fellow crew member, a battlefield. His parents eventually investigated, only to discover that every name he mentioned existed in World War II records. Even more disturbing, James described the final moments of a young pilot's last mission with uncanny accuracy. No one could understand how a toddler had access to such specific, historically accurate information. Another extraordinary case is that of Dorothy Eady, a woman who puzzled archaeologists for decades. At 3 years old, she experienced a serious accident and entered a state of near stillness. When she awakened, she was entirely different. Dorothy claimed she belonged somewhere else. As she grew older, she could read and understand ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs without ever studying them. Even more astonishing, she described rooms inside the temple of Seti I that had not yet been excavated. When archaeologists finally reached those areas, every detail matched her descriptions exactly. In the 1,950 seconds, a woman in the United States became widely known for what is now called the Bridey Murphy case. Under hypnosis, her voice, vocabulary, and accent changed completely into that of an old Irish dialect. She described everyday life, customs, and locations from a small Irish village that no longer existed. When researchers investigated, many of those details aligned with historical documents long forgotten. The case sparked debates for decades, but these mysteries are not limited to memories of other lives. Some involve individuals who returned from states that medicine assumed were beyond awareness. One of the most famous examples is Pam Reynolds. During a complex surgical procedure, doctors had to temporarily stop her heart, lower the blood in her head to minimal levels, and cool her body to an extreme temperature. Machines showed almost no brain activity. Yet when she regained consciousness, Pam recalled the exact layout of the operating room, the appearance of instruments, and conversations among the surgeons. How could she perceive anything when her brain was essentially offline? A similar case involved Zach Dunlap. After a severe accident, Zach was declared unresponsive. Preparations were made for organ donation. Zach Dunlap, a limited organ donation, but a family member, refusing to accept the situation, tested his reaction. Zach unexpectedly responded. When he recovered, he said he remembered hearing everything spoken around him during the period when doctors believed he had no neurological activity at all. This forced many in the medical field to re-examine their assumptions. And then there is Alonzo Clemens, a man with below-average IQ. After a major head injury, he suddenly possessed an extraordinary ability to sculpt animals with perfect anatomical accuracy. He needed only a brief glance to recreate a detailed three-dimensional form, as if images stored somewhere deep inside him had suddenly been unlocked. Before the incident, he had shown no sign of such talent. No conventional explanation has ever fully accounted for this transformation. 10 stories from different lands and different decades, yet all pointing toward the same question. Does consciousness truly end when the body grows silent? Or does it shift into another state, another flow? Scientists have tried to explain these phenomena through theories of unconscious memory, inherited information, and latent neural processes. But none of these ideas accounts for every detail found in these cases. The precision, the inexplicable marks, the abilities that emerge from nowhere. They suggest that human existence may be far more complex than we assume. If consciousness does not disappear with the body, where does it go? And how does it find a way back? How many layers does a single life carry? And somewhere between those layers, what exactly are we? Follow the channel for the next story.